Oh shit. Hey YouTubers, it's your boy Domination. This is back in the base. Chuck of the Deuces, how we do Texas, baby. And Chuck of the Deuces, how we do Texas, baby. Man, that was back. You know what it is. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. The only place, all the place, all the place, only place, only place, all the place go get it. All the place go get it is right back in the base. Chuck of the Deuces, how we do Texas, baby. Man, that was back. You know what it is. Do this, do this, do this. Real man rise up. Fake man rise down. Real woman rise up. Fake woman rise down. Practical preacher, preach on. And today's topic I'm going to talk about is, And today's topic what I want to talk about is, this is a commissary and adversary that people don't want to talk about. Is it true that black is the dominant gene and white is recessive? In some ways it is. If you think about it, they always put apart pit by pit, put whites and blacks against each other. They've been doing this for years. But you got to ask yourself, why? Is it because it has something to do with blacks are the Homo sapiens and whites were the Neanderthals? They come from different, lost a different part of connection and lose a part of from each other, trying to find each other again. There's got to be some reason. If you don't believe me, I've been hearing this all the time. Once you go black, you never go back. The reason why they say that, because nobody wants you back. And I've been hearing this a lot from my folks, that they treat blacks, my folks, are the visible race. Like they see us, but they don't see us. But who the people that are, they aiming at, who the people they target at? The dark skin tone, brothers and sisters. And shout out to black brothers and sisters, because I let them know you're not inferior. Don't believe that, because remember there was some dark Caucasian at that time. Don't believe that curse of him. I call it the bless of him. Don't believe that. That's the biggest deception. That's the biggest lie. And Caucasian been lied upon themselves to believe it. That's a lie. Just like that whole everything is all good to being white. It's something innocent about white. Don't believe that. Whites do some fucked up shit like everybody else, any other group like we do. White could be just as much as purity as much as black. But the thing is, anybody can be pure or non-pure. But it's pure heart and pure open-minded. You got to be open-minded for everybody. Doesn't matter if they full potential or color or half potential. See, that's the problem. I've been hearing this, but I understand why my black community hate it so much, because it got to start from the civilization that starts from the beginning of Africa. And I'm not saying black community most dominant race. I'm not saying that, but it's the dominant certain genes they get from interact with certain part and intermingle with other people mingle with them. That's what I'm trying to get at. And they're not inferior to other races. Other people ain't inferior with us. We need to get off of this whole superior, inferior. We need to get off of that. People are better in other things and better position and an organization better for themselves. We need to get off of that, because all it's going to do is going to create a kind of a fictionalism of race. It's going to start problems there between the blacks and the whites. We need to get off of that. We need to get off of that, because that's an issue. And when it comes to black community, I did my research, because ever since the death of Trayvon Martin, it kind of bothered me, because I want to know why these certain things are happening. And guess what I found out? Did you know that not only that Africa was the birthplace of humanity, all original humanity, because we say we're Africans. Do you think that other races going to say they Africans too? How can we say we're Africans, but we don't even know the original term of Africa came from? Africa came from the Roman general African Canus that defeated Roman general African Canus beat the Caucasus from the Third Punic War. It was something like that. And in Libya. And all these others around is in North Africa, when the Romans was invaded into Africa that took place up there from between the Romans and the Greeks. It happened about AD 100 and one. I mean AD 900 or 800 or 700. before all that for the humanity would start. You know, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't even know that. That's Egypt and all this other stuff. Egyptians, they would put Hebrews to slaves. Some say it was aliens built it. Some say it was European. Some say it was black. But if you look close to certain features, they do got big nose and big lips. Who the only race who can do stuff like that? It would say it had to be black. But then again, it might be mixed with part of Europeans. That's why they Europeanized Egypt, because they got some European ancestry. And this is a fact. Their Europeans got some African ancestry. If you don't believe me, why you think there's always some intertension between blacks and whites? You don't hear about other nationalities like Latino, Asian, Middle East, and Muslims and Jews and Native Americans. You always hear about black and white. And you have to wonder, why is that? Is it because white people lost their melanin from the caves? And not only that, then a lot of people don't know whites were Neanderthals. That's what their ancestors from the Ice Age. They were settled in over there. And somehow there were dark. Remember, I tell you, it was dark Caucasians at that time. But the more they stranded of the cold of the cave, they start somehow, some way. Don't ask me, but tell me, just me. They vanished away their skin. I don't know how they lost their melanin. They lost their melanin in them in their skin. That's probably why Caucasian skin they tinted their skin so much. That's probably why. And they the only race have skin cancer. They the only race have skin cancer. You kind of feel bad for Caucasian because many of them have sunburn beat down on them because they start peeling up red and pink and pale. This is why Caucasian, the most part, believe if you're not having certain features of different certain color hair and certain of the color eyelids and a certain nose, certain ears, and all those things, then you're not one of them. Unless you got part of their feature, you're past yourself. You passing into the white world, and this is what white people believe. This is what white supremacists and Nazis. A lot of people don't know the original Nazis come from fake Jews and then killed the real Jews. See, it goes back, and it goes back to the plot of the death of Jesus Christ from the Roman Empire, and also with 3 original crosses. The 3 crosses. The original 3 crosses, that's the cross of the ring, where Martin Luther King died at, and the cross of the Ring Motel. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know where all this stuff got started. But I'm not shocked, because if you see the movies, they put in the images right in your face all the time. Even magazines. Even listen to some of these celebrities' conversations, because they start telling off of themselves. Listen to politicians. I mean, look at all these certain hidden message symbols and subliminal message. It will tell you how people got here at this point. And soon Caucasian lost their melanin, that they come from a different certain breed of another color, just like black did. And I believe that the black community, Africans must have stayed in the sun so long, they start peeling out their skin, they start turning white. And this is a fact. If you look at it, that's where the binos came out. Binos might be what? It could be black or white. I used to always say that black or whites can't produce binos. I would kind of lie there, but whites can produce binos. They can. I always thought they couldn't, but they can. Because I was thinking, how is it possible? Because they come from a different part of the melanin of the skin. That's what melanin is. You got the black melanin and the white melanin. They said Adam and Eve was both part brown, and they produced kids with different melanins of the skin. So everybody has a vino in vitiligo. You look it up. My brother, his skin started pecking in with dry skin. So the more He ain't put no vest of a certain skin cream for his skin won't break in. Because if his skin break in, he will turn white. Just like that. My brother, I love my little brother to death. He turned white. So this is true. My little brother is true in some ways, and I really do believe that what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is whites and blacks, they all the same. But the thing is, white is the dominant gene, and black is recessive, and that is so true in some there. But the original Caucasians that came from the Caucasus Mountain, from all the way from Russia to Georgian. The same thing when you say Georgia is Georgian. A lot of people don't know. They don't even know that. Russia. But they rush. I don't know. Back then in the early times they called rush. And Ukrainian is crane instead of called Ukrainian. And they've been fighting each other for a long time. That explains why Ukrainians have have a revolution against Russia, but they love Russia. Russia love Ukraine, even though they form part, and all of them come from Chepet, Caucasian. Every last one of them, even if it comes from the good and bad, last of them will come Chepet. And black people are part of the Chepet. That is why black people slaves, because the original slaves was Slavic people from the other side, from Europeans. And this is a fact. And you got African tribes were, being enslaved not only by the Britain, but being enslaved by their own people, by the guerrilla emancipate of African army. That explains a lot. And then not only that black people been enslaved by whites took part to slave their people, and blacks took part to slave their people, and they started slaving whites, and whites started slaving blacks, and whites and blacks have been enslaved by their own people and everything else. Slavery play a part because the Slavic people from Slavic. When Slavic is just another word for slavery, slave, and that explains means servant. Serve means you want people to serve you all the time because you can't get to serve things for yourself. You need somebody to get things for you instead of get things for yourself. Get it from yourself. Only way that you ask them to get something for you, and when you demand to ask or please or appreciation to do something for you, you got to do the same thing for them. And master really means you masterify. You try to figure things out in the world and how you make a plan and make a vision and make a better plan and make a betterment for yourself and all the rest of the community. See, people need to understand where the original slavery came from. They got to get it. Same thing, black community. Black community, there's a fact there, black community, a lot of black people don't look like 100% black. I know what you're thinking is. Because what I'm trying to explain is some blacks coming out light skinned. There's some blacks come out yellow skin or red skin. That's called, if you don't know what red skin, that's close to European or Native American. One of the two. And some come from close to pale albino. If you put a albino and a white person, they be matched. And this is not funny, but this is true in some ways. There are people, the Aboriginals. When I did not know there were some black people down there, but they got the same feature as Caucasian. But I don't have to say this, but they kind of like funny, certain looking of blacks. But man, it's blessing seeing them looking down there. That's my folks, man. It's crazy. They have the same feature my mom and dad had. But it's the difference is you got black people who are come from carmine color. Carmine is between brown and light brown and dark brown. That's carmine color, and kind of like white, so that's be carmine, and that's it. But if you don't have dark black or darker, you're not African. That's why there's so much divided between African and African Americans, or African and Black Americans, because Black Americans are Negroes. They're the tribe of Judah. The same Judah that betrayed Jesus Christ. That explains why they hate Negroes so much. That be the Trayvon Martins and all that. That explains why teenage boys getting shot down, but they still believe dark people or darker are inferior to white complexion of pale mint or pale or pink pale white. I know it sounds funny. It's kind of stupid. What they got to do with this? Got to do with who can make it out in the cold, who can make it out of the heat. White can make it out of the cold. Blacks can make it out of the heat. And whites can't make it out of the heat, and blacks can't make it out of the cold. That explains why so much racism. And it started from the Homo erectus and Neanderthals. Neanderthals can make it out of the heat, but whites, Homo erectus can make it out the heat. The Neanderthals can make it out of the cold. That's the thing. From the Ice Age to the early Hedimint spring from Africa. That explains a lot between the sun and the moon. Some say that Asians and whites worship the moon, and so is Africans too. But I don't think it's had nothing to do with the color. And some people worship the sun. The sun is, whites can worship the sun, so is blacks and everybody else. They say Latino and blacks are the sun, the children of the sun and the children of the moon. I don't know what it got a lot to do with this, but in the concept theory, it's got to be some reason with that. It sounds stupid, but it's probably some reason. That's what the whole blue and the red represent. They always say the darker people are blue people. I don't know how true that is, because there was a movie called Avatar, and if you look at certain things, the feature they had, they look like black, does it? Every last one of it, except they put a white guy in there, you know. But everyone look at certain feature as blacks, and whites were red. They're red people. I thought red was Native American. Some say red is Caucasian. I mean, it's crazy at the wild. My point is this. You know, every race of people come from colors. They all one of the same, out of the same. But the difference is they came out of one color, out of two color, three color, four color, five colors. There's 5 races and there's 6 colors. But 6 is between Middle East, between some religion beliefs and Jews and Muslims. That explains why blacks and whites fighting each other so much. That explains it why. And black people are Africans are ham. And African Americans are tribe of Japan. That explains why black Europeans. Same thing Caucasians. They bro whites in them groups. You got the stacking Caucasian mixed with Mongols, and you got the European white Caucasian white American whites are referred as dirty whites, meaning they got Negro in their blood. Same thing that they tell blacks that they tell African Americans. They'll tell them, man, you're black, but you think you're white. In other words, they trying to say you got white blood in you. You're not 100% white. Same thing they'll tell a white person they not 100%. You're not 100% black. Same thing they tell a white person they not 100% white. I know it sounds stupid, and looking at this, it kind of hit me that it explains a lot what is going on. That explains a lot with certain hair tones and skin tones. That explains it. And who close who close a look close of Homo erectus was Danny Glover, and who close a look of the Neanderthal was Kurt Cobain. Why I say this? Because that means that whites and blacks interact with each other. They come from different breed, different interbreed with different race, and outbred and bred it in. It got a lot to do with it. It does make sense. Why you think Africa and Asia and Europe is all connected from each other? Because it comes from the Noah's kids. Some say that the big flood was breaking in, and it separate each of the tribe of the family. One of the tribe got to stick with the same tribal complexion, state tribe complexion of their color, and the other tribes got to stay the complexion of their color, and the other tribe got to stick to the complexion of their color. That explains why whites and blacks and Asians separate from each other so much. That explains a lot. That explains that they come from these certain terms, what they define of that person of that color. They call black people niggers. They dead race. They don't know who they are, where they are, where they come from, how they come from. They want our people dead because they feel like that we're no longer a place to have and place to live. That's what the N word really means. And cracker really means is that they're the masters of mastermanship, meaning they conquer everything in the world. Everybody supposed to bow down and falls to praise and praise upon to worship them. That's what this whole Nazism and all this other stuff was doing. I mean, it's kind of stupid. Blacks is not a dead race. Whites are not the masters. They're humans. They both are humans. And Asians, they treat Orientals. The reason why they call Asian Oriental because everything is originated out of Asia. That's not true. Everything's originated of Asia. Originated of Europe and Africa. But there are certain things that originated out of Asia, but it's come from influentially from Africa to in Europe. That explains a lot. A lot of these things are going on. I come to find out the Ku Klux Klan, not only they come from all the way to South Carolina, New Britain, the same New Britain as Burn Cross. It was a white guy did a video about it, how the Ku Klux Klan really got started. They're white sorority, college sorority, white scholars, white student scholars with the mean divide of their race, their people. But they really are. I hear this from Caucasian. They say they anti-racist, mean they against racism. They not with it, but they against. They proud of the race, proud of their color. But they really are anti-white. They're against their own people just as much as blacks. Blacks, the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam and the rest of them, they say they anti-racist. Blacks can't be racist. I've been hearing this a lot, and I used to think like that, but that's not true. They have the same mindset as Caucasian, but the difference is basically they begging for a certain handout, but they have the same status level as white counterparts, for they can be accepted and unaccepted by Europeans. They really anti-black. They're not. They say they react to white racists, but they really trying to react to black racists towards Caucasian. Just like there's white racism towards to black community. What I'm saying is that blacks and whites are both victims of this, but it's the United Nations are the ones who came up with this shit. They try to put whites and blacks and part them against each other. It don't make no sense. It's really sad, but at the same time, they allow this to go. It's going to be really difficult to get whites and blacks to break apart away and be apart from each other to understand each other, because it's been going on a little bit too long. Because you have to go to the Caucasian era from 1400 to 1200 to 1300. You have to go to that era, the medieval times. You have to go to that era, because their people were slaves. And that's where the original term redneck came from. Redneck was Irish and Scotland. They were slaves by the Great Britain and France. Because I watched the movie Braveheart by Mel Gibson. And that explains they took buying bridesmaids and put them into a sex slavery for women can to bear a force of a children by another man seed. By basically they're gonna sell off their babies to another location into an evilmanship and empowerment, to slave the people for farm laborers. Because there were white slave laborers. There were white farmers. So that's what the original term redneck came from, because they working stranded on their legs for so long in the sun. And also, some say that the term redneck came from they wear a handkerchief skull in their face, where they won't identify who they really were. So they call them rednecks. Some say the redneck came from they whipped the slave so bad they start flashing up red every time they get upset when they whip the slave. That's why they call them crackers, because they think that people should bow down to them, worship them, and praising their men. They're not masters. They're humans. They did some fucked up shit of they need to pay for the mindset they did and what did they do to the people and did it to the blacks. Blacks did the same thing. They were volunteered by the same people that what they did to the Europeans they did to the blacks. Blacks slaved the Europeans and they slaved they slaved the blacks. And it's crazy. Europeans slave Europeans and they slave blacks. Whites and blacks are part slaving each other and slaved their own. And it didn't make any sense at all. When I heard this shit, man, and I'm thinking myself, what the fuck it has something to do with this? People, do your research. I don't know if this is true or not. Believe it or not, there's a real reason why after all these things are happening. You got to ask yourself this question. Look at people's certain features. They all bleed red. They all got the same shape, heart shape. And they have this different shape of skull. See, they judge on paper based on people's skull. Who's more brighter and who's not that bright. And they show these different fractions of races' skulls, like the Caucasoid, the Negroid, the Mongoloid. They're trying to say the Caucasoid is more wide and wide shaped and shaped with wide, intelligent and brilliant brain. Basically, they're more smarter than any other race. That's why Caucasians really do feel like that. And on the other hand, you got the Mongols, got 2 inches wide and a wide inch wide cheekbone and higher cheekbone. They're more smarter and brighter men than Caucasians. That's why Caucasians and whites can get along with each other, because they're missing counterparts of their ancestors. Same thing. They didn't like each other well. From the Mongol Empire to the European Empire, they were fighting each other for the 1400s, 1200 to in all them years. And Asian people been fighting to 900, 1100, and 1200. See, that explains at that time. That explains it. You got Africans fighting other tribes and fight Europeans and Asians and all that stuff, and Asians slave blacks and Asians slave Europeans. Europeans slave Asians and blacks slave Asians. They basically slaving off each other. Whites slaving off each other, slave their own. Blacks slaving each other and slave off their own, and Asians slaving each other and slaving on their own. That explains all this. What I'm saying is, white people been lied to from their history in their past just as much as blacks did, just as much as Asians. We're all been tricked. We've all been fooled. And the ones who need to be held responsible is that everybody got to hold themselves accountable by everybody's action, what they did. But really is the colonization. The original government's the ones holding accountable, trying to put everybody in shamblement of slavery, of the enslavement of the mind, to make everybody think we're enemies towards each other and towards everyone another. It don't make no sense to hate another race, another color. I hate the person they is. I don't give a damn what skin tone you are. It's really sad. It's really sad that, it would take for years to fix this problem. When I found out the Ku Klux Klan, not only one, they come from all the way to South Carolina. The original Ku Klux Klan is come from Switzerland. The switch bank accounts, switch doctors. I mean, switch, Swiss cheese. Everything you think about. No wonder with the original white Red Cross, with the number flaming 6 on it. It's the same match, and I'm gonna show you for the next couple months, because it's kind of crazy. It's hard to believe. And guess what I found out about where the Black Panthers came from? Black Panthers, that's not a panther, that's a jaguar. They say they put the Black Panthers really come from, they always put black people near the corner. If they can't go, they can't move the right side and the left side, the other side, and other direction side. They always push near. They're trying to get out the corners. They push it near right through corners. It's the same corner with the red and the blue. Because Mike Tyson even said that the whole of way of the whole entire boxing It's that they originated from gangs between the red against the blue, blue against the red, and red against the blue. The blue always comes from the champion. The red becomes the next champion. That explains a lot. So that means for the blue is black and red is European. That explains it. For years and years, I want to say to Europeans, they have to know the truth about their history. Study the history. Study to the blacks' history. Study to your history and where you come from. And blacks need to know the history where they come from and study European. It's all connection. Not only that whites become enemies, they became friends, and then became lovers. They had kids. That explains a lot. Not everybody is pure. If black ain't pure, whites damn sure ain't pure. Or Asian either. Only thing they need to have is pure heart. These race organization group, they're a joke. And Nation of Islam is certainly Islamic. That's what they is. But they might be Islam, but they really is Islamic. And not in part of Islam. Because it's supposed to be for every other Muslims. It's Muslims for everybody, just like Jews for everybody. It's based on religion belief. It ain't based on somebody's race. Same civilization of Egypt. Egypt is a black land and red land. It's set in the damn. I don't know what video I watched. This person said that people thought that Egypt is I am the God of one land, black land. It didn't say that. It said, I am the God of two lands, black land and red land. That means black and European. So that explains a lot why blacks and whites are fighting for nothing. Over some bullshit, over the miseducated misunderstanding. It just, to me, it's sad. The saddest thing, people need to know the truth. How people got here, from all the way to Africa, to India, Australia, to Asia, to Europe, all the way to South America, to North America. That's how we got here at this point. That's how they got here. That explains everybody was enslaved, not just from overseas, but in the United States. See, I'm blaming the ancient misfits of the secret misfits of mystery schools. It's these people. Don't blame Caucasians. Caucasians should not blame blacks. We need to blame the people who interact with this mindset from our own people to theirs, and we need to really put the blame who put apart a pit against each other. What's the difference between a suburb and inner city? Inner city is inner city limits. Suburb is certain burbs of the area. Suburb is certain areas that you live in, certain areas of burb that you wouldn't live. I mean, it don't make no sense. In the country, you live in the side of the country, like farms and horses and all that other stuff. I have family in the country, and overseas is other cities, other state going other state. See, that's where the Crips and the Crips and Bloods really came from. The Romans and the Greeks. A lot of people don't know Romans want to control the whole entire city. They want to control entire people. The Greeks want to be the ones who want people be controlled by the people, and people controlled by themselves from the system. See, it goes back years ago. People need to do their research, because that explains why Asians were fighting, because they broke their language and their actual what the certain language they really came from. And they need to go to the Caucasus Mountain, because this is what Caucasians really believe, though. They really believe all the way to Russia, to Germany. Same thing that blacks believe, that to Ethiopia, to Kenya, in South Africa. That explains that people travel so much. And some say the Aryan race, they were very dark, certain tone European. And I really do believe that. They trying to say with blonde hair and blue eyes, but in the early days, Europeans with dark hair and light blue eyes. And that explains, you can go to goddamn Australia. There are black people got light blue eyes and any other color. That doesn't mean they're necessarily European. There are Europeans that look close as black. You couldn't even tell they were black unless they tell you. See, people need to do their research. And you got people who are Asian, who black and white, who really are Asian. See, this is why people need to do their research, because original races were black, white, and Asian. And then all the rest of these other races. But I'm telling you what we really are. What we really are indigenous is from any other people of race, from all the other seas to the United States. From certain countries in South Country in the United States. If you don't believe me, man, do your research. But do you think it's true? Black is the dominant gene and white is repulsive. Because if you look at it, whites do take care of their property, take care of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. There are some bad whites out there, but there are some good ones. But I'm going to tell you that. You know, not every Caucasian is racist. I know that. Some people hate towards them, and they shouldn't. Then you got black as the most dominant. It might be true in some sense, but I disagree with this because it is not true that black man is bigger in the harness nets like any other. Everybody can have a big nest way before us. We did. But for some reason, we do believe this. Every time you hear news that black man this, black man that, not take care, that's every other man in general, but they won't say it. And I really do believe it's a propaganda of dumb people down to get people to leave. You got whites getting blamed for all the shit what their ancestors did to redefine what their people are and what they people not. But everybody got European blood in them somewhere. Same thing that everybody got some black blood in them somewhere and Asian blood. So you got to wonder. We're all human beings. We are part of human nature and reach of God and God and master the God for self. Don't let nobody any tell you no different or prefer no different. But what I'm saying is this, know who you are, know where you come from, and how you begin where you are and where you begin for what you are. And that goes to everybody else. And God bless. Keep doing what you're doing. All right? All right. It's your boy Domination. This is Back of the Base that you're going to do since I would do text, baby. Until next time. All right? All right. Peace. And I'm out. All right? Peace and I'm out of here.